Welcome to the Metal Bob Live podcast. I'm your host, Metal Bob. We got co-host Bazooka Phil, and our guest today is none other than Mr. Scuzz Twittly. How you doing, buddy?
Good, brother.
Good deal. Appreciate your time today.
Yeah, it's a special day. It's my birthday today, in fact.
Oh, well, happy birthday, buddy.
Yeah,
Thanks.
happy birthday.
Yeah, so you got any plans or what?
Well, I had a little get-together last night with a couple of friends, and we're going to go out to dinner tonight, I think, so.
Oh, damn, it must be hell being 30 again. Shit.
Yeah, it is every year.
Well, you've been pretty busy here lately, man. I know we had talked a while back, and man, since last time we talked, you've put a handful of videos out.
Yeah, I've been trying to keep busy. Got a ton more too. I mean, I'm always got stuff in the works, and we got I'm a trucker out there right at the end of the year last year, and then got out Just the Tip. That's a new one. Check that out. And what was the last one? Oh, Still Smelling in My Beard. That one just came out too. So.
I'll tell you, man, that one had me, buddy. I was on the floor on that one. That one had me. That
beer, was a fun one to record and write too.
Yeah, I think. What else did you? Beer in the Cooler you put out? I think
Beer in the Cooler was late last year. Everything I think. So we put out about 4 since just in the last maybe 6 months, and that's. I know you tried to get a hold of Georgie, but I haven't seen her in 6 months. So
yeah, I briefly talked to her. She said if she gets a chance, she'll jump on. I think she wasn't sure that, the time zone change and all that. So
right.
But she said if
I think she was on a plane or something, but
yeah.
She's been out of town, so she's been traveling around. So been cranking out stuff. That's why we haven't had a podcast out in a while either, too. So
okay. Sounds good. So what's next on Scuzz's plate? I mean, I know you've been busy. You just put the Harry Nuts beer promo out. That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was freaking awesome, man. Well, so what can we expect next?
I got a few more sketches. I started to do this one last year, didn't get it finished, called Hillbilly Joel. And it's Billy Joel, but he's a redneck version, got the big mullet and everything, and has songs like "I Just Started a Fire" and stuff like that. and so it's a little spoof commercial. And he plays weddings and stuff, if you want to hire him. It's actually the 10th anniversary of a PBR video was going to be.
Wow.
It was released 10 years ago in October, and so I'm going to do a special 10th anniversary edition of that song. The first version was kind of a blues shuffle, I guess, style. And I'm going to do like a kind of straight time rocker with this one.
Oh, cool.
But pretty much same song, just a little different version of it. So, which I've never done before. So it should be fun. I'm going to put a music video together and put some behind the scenes stuff from the original video. I was just looking back and I've got it all on hard drive. So there's plenty more bouncing boobs that I didn't get to use in that. Like 3 minutes, you can only put so much in there. But there's a bunch more, some really funny stuff, funny cuts behind the scenes, and kind of putting it together. So I'm trying to make a video out of all that old footage.
Good deal.
Nice. Yeah. And then I got another couple tunes I'm working on. Mean Drunk. That one I got in mind for Georgie. She was a circus performer for quite a while. I don't know if you know that, but yeah. She can breathe fire and set herself on fire. So we're gonna figure out something to do with her, and just some real cool slow-mo of breathing fire and all this stuff. And it's about this. You ever have one of them women that, man, once they hit the liquor, they just get mean as shit to you.
Well, you're talking about my wife.
Oh,
the switch just flips, and then boom, they're gone. But also been working on my truck too. We had a lot of rain out here, during the winter, and I had some leaks I didn't know about. I found out about the hard way. And so the new carpet I put in got all wet, and the headliner warped from all the moisture. So I had to redo a bunch of that stuff. But
oh wow!
But I'm, a 50-some-year-old vehicle. It's there's always something wrong. So
Right.
you gotta have patience to do that stuff.
Yeah, at least they're a lot easier to work on than today's junk.
Yeah, you know what's going on. It's like,
Right.
I know that's the alternator. I know what the problem is there, you know.
Right,
You can track it down. The wire's right there. In fact, my trim was loose the other day, and the screw's just right on the outside. You know, you just screw it right back on. It's not like you got to figure out how to pop on the plastic panel or whatever.
Yeah, take half the car apart, change a battery or something.
Right. Yeah, I had a car, had a starter go bad. It took them 8 hours because they had to like drop the engine. Everything was crammed in there so bad.
That's just blows my mind.
Wow.
How
It's ridiculous.
It's just you almost can't. You have to take it in now. You can't do nothing to them.
Yeah.
So much electronics as well that just you can't work around that stuff.
No. Yeah, that runs the whole car, and they just plug in the sensor, and they know exactly what's wrong right away.
Right. Well, hey man, I got my buddy co-host here, Phil. Man, he's new to the program. This is like his third or fourth episode we've done together. What would you like to ask him there, Phil?
I'm interested in your touring. So how often do you play, and are you looking at trying to like tour the whole United States, or do you keep mainly over to the West Coast? Or
I don't really tour much. I get offers, and we've played live shows. We've done 3 in Mesquite at the Casablanca there, and it's just too expensive to tour unless you're a big name. I was just reading The Who was going to tour again, and it was too much for them.
Wow.
Because they're out like $2 or $3 million right off the bat, and it takes about 6-7 shows to make that back. And there's a lot of these festivals going around. That's probably what I'd be on, and down on the bill somewhere. And by the time they divvy up everything, it's just, not worth hopping in the bus, loading. And I'm kind of getting the age, this is my birthday, getting the age where I don't want to be lugging amps and shit around. I want somebody else to be doing all that stuff. So I'm happy just making the videos, and if that opportunity comes up, I definitely do it. We haven't done the Casablanca in a while, but it's just really hard to finance that stuff. And like I've talked, George Thorogood said the same thing. He's kind of in the middle, so they can barely make it, but they got a lot of overhead, so they got to just keep touring. I love ZZ Top, and I'm like, this guy's 70 some years old. They're on the road like every other night. I'm like, and that's ZZ Top. How are they? I don't know. I think they just got it. A friend of mine who tours called it Chasing the Dragon, because you're always trying to catch up money wise. But So if the opportunity is there, it's just where I am to get somewhere where it's worth it is quite a travel. Around LA, there's so many people willing to play for free that they won't pay anything. It's just so much talent right around here. The bands are right here, so I'd have to get out. But if that opportunity came up, absolutely, I'd do it.
Do you now you record everything yourself?
Yeah,
like all your music, right? And so when you go out and do a show, these one-offs and stuff, do you hire a band, obviously? So you hire musicians that and
I have a group of guys. Generally, it's the same guys, but we've switched. Of course, we've switched bass players, just like Spinal Tap, right? Several times. Those are the hardest guys to find. Lead guitar, no problem. Those guys are all over the place. Bass player is really hard. And my buddy, Jamie, you've seen him, some of my videos. He's playing drums in the Still Smell You in My Beard video. He's my drummer. But he also does a Bob Dylan act, and he plays guitar. A lot of people out here are multi-instrumental. And then so he was in that band. So I'm like, hey, I need a guitarist. And he knew a guy, and that guy plays guitar, plays fiddle, plays bass. So he's able to fill in. And then there's some guys I've known for years out here. So we got a pretty core group, even if I got to shuffle somebody. But we generally play with a 4-piece band, drummer, bass, lead, and then I play rhythm. So pretty much all my songs are kind of based around that too. There's some keys in there and stuff like that. We just won't play those, or we'll play a different version of them.
Gotcha.
We'll have a keyboard player on stage too, have a big band, and then of course we got the girls on stage too. So
I was gonna say,
big show. I mean, if you've seen the video on YouTube, our live show, we had 2 floor dancers, 2 pole dancers on either side. So we travel. That's the other reason it's expensive too. You got all these people, and it's kind of like the a circus basically. I have circus performers in there. We have 4 burlesque chicks, 2 pole dancers, and then the 4-piece band, and it's a big show. There's a lot to see on stage.
Well, and
then videos too. We play videos on the side. You probably don't see that in the videos, but on my shorts, we'll play a couple songs. We'll have a short that fits in there with them, and it's a whole variety show, really, because that's the kind I grew up on, like Carol Burnett and that kind of stuff, and that's the kind of show I'm gonna put on. Just
nice,
throw everything out there.
I like it.
So yeah, you mentioned that how expensive it's get touring. It's funny because I watched a YouTube video not too long ago about 2023 is kind of the comeback. Everything's been kind of slowed down the last couple of years, and the amount of money just to rent a bus for a few months at a time is ungodly. They said it's hundreds of thousands of dollars just to rent a bus.
Yeah, that's
to do these tours.
Yeah, and they used to basically break even on these things anyway, these up and coming bands, but because they were pushing the album. Mm-hmm. Well, there's no album to push now. Nobody pays for the music, so you're pushing for streams, but it's pennies compared to before. It didn't matter if you made money on the tour. A lot of these record companies, they'd lose their ass on some of these tours, but they push the album and make the money back. It's just weird. And then, in Ticketmaster, you have to go through for everything. So they make more money than any of the musicians, I'm sure. I just tried to get tickets the other day, and 15 minutes. It was Eric Clapton Crossroads Festival, the new one, which would be freaking awesome. But it sold out in 15 minutes, and they wanted over $500 for one seat on the floor. And, who's going to, and that's 2 nights, so that's, 2 people, there's $2,000. That's saying, I'm not going to do that.
No.
Wow.
So it kind of ruins things. I don't know who's able to afford these seats, but I think they scalp their own shit. They buy, because the tickets are going in 15 minutes. How can that be? That just can't be right.
I heard that was something that they were checking into, that they were scamming by buying back their own tickets and then selling them. Yep. The old scalpers are getting screwed.
Right. I miss the old guys out there. Damone out there selling tickets on the street,
Yeah.
Well, shit. Them service charges are a crock of shit.
Oh my God, that's double the price.
Yeah.
It was like here's $50 for the ticket. Now it's about $85 after the service fee.
Right. I mean, we're making one transaction. They're charging you per ticket. It's unbelievable.
Yep.
Hey, there's something, I don't know if I've ever asked you this. I know we talked a lot about the videos and stuff that you've done, and I know that prior to doing the Scuzz Twittly thing, you obviously went to the Ohio State University, I believe, and you graduated there, in filmography and some different things. I read somewhere that you'd won some awards for some other different things prior to the stuff that you're doing now. Can you reflect on that?
I don't remember what they would be, but maybe some film festivals and stuff like that.
Yeah. I had read that you had won some stuff at.
Yeah, I've been doing it for a long time. So, doing independent film, really starting with actual film in the camera.
Right.
People don't know what that shit is anymore, but splicing audio tape by hand, reel to reel. That's how I started. So that's how I'm able to start from start to finish, the song, write it, record it, and do a video for it. I just have all that experience in all those different backgrounds. I worked in TV, in broadcast room, and film, and actually my first film I worked on was Almost Heroes with Chris Farley.
Yeah.
Okay. I was a PA on that, and got to meet him. He was a super cool dude, and he had we were working in the woods. It was up in the redwoods, and he had to get out of this trench, so I had to help pull him out of this trench. He's a big dude, right?
Yeah.
But he was super friendly guy, and just super on all the time. He drank coffee with double fist in it, just boom, boom, and this was always really spastic. And but that was just, I think he only made one movie after that. That was pretty close to the end. But so I started way back then, and I've worked on it kind of every kind of bit.
So you started off in video, and then your passion, as a musician and as obviously a comedian, then you've taken that and translated that over into what we know now of the videos. And so what got you, what spurred that transition? What got you thinking, man, I want to do this. This is what I really want to do. And I'm tired of doing all this other crap, working for somebody else.
I think it was hard. It took a while. I wasn't one of those people that knew right away what they wanted to do. And I was in engineering, actually, initially. And then just started doing a lot of writing, creative writing, and got a video camera. And back then it was expensive as hell. So in the 90s, it wasn't like you can get them now real cheap. It was like over $1,000 for the video camera. So it was a big investment. And as soon as I got it and I looked through it, I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do. It's just looking through the camera and shooting stuff. And did a short with my buddies, a spoof on Karate Kid, actually, back this Cobra Kai kind of thing. It was kind of Cobra Kai before Cobra Kai, but it was a spoof on Karate Kid called "You Killed My Brother." all the movies then were, you killed my brother, we got to go avenge him, and then get all my karate guys together, and that's basically what it was. So we kind of spoofed the plot of You Killed My Brother. It was like a 25-minute little film we shot in my grandma's backyard, and after that I was just off and running, and studied in Second City too, because I knew that's where all the greats were, and to be really good, you had to study that. So I went through their program, and that's intimidating too. You go walk into Second City, and there's Farley's picture, and Bill Murray, and Aykroyd, and Belushi, and Arkin, and all these greats.
Wow.
You're like, wow, they were all here, And actually,
wow,
Steve Carell was there around the time I was, right around that time, studying with Colbert and all those guys too. So,
wow, cool. I didn't know that. I had no idea.
Yeah, I think he was. It might have been just a few years before me, but it's pretty close same time. And I still see those people, like, oh, that guy was there at Second City. That lady was at Second City when I. Still to this day, there's a lot of people go through there. Very important school you really learn so much there.
Cool.
But the music I've always played, but never considered a career. That's hard to do, and all my musician friends were, never going to make it, struggling and everything. But that just came. I always loved funny songs, so it just kind of merged together with the film and the music, and then. Because I wasn't very good really when I started out at all, but I keep getting better and better, and I just love playing and get more and more guitars, as you can see.
Yeah, they're adding up.
You write really hooky stuff. I mean, just even the melodies and stuff are hooked. The music. You take the lyrics out, but just the music is great stuff.
Thanks.
And so it's impressive what you do. So yeah, all the instruments hanging on the back wall. Are you collecting up, getting a big mass of instruments these days?
I do kind of have a glut right now, but the way I view it is like it's like tools, and I'm like right tool for the right job. So they're all tools in the toolbox. So if I want some twang, I got a Telly. I got a Les Paul for rhythm. I still got my original Nighthawk from Actually, that's one of the videos I'm going to do is a rig rundown, show everybody what I have basically, because I get a lot of questions about that. But the original guitar is a Nighthawk, bought in '94, and that's in the PBR video. That's Billy Baru. I named it Billy Baru because if I'm starting a new song, I'll pull that one off the wall, and that's kind of the songwriter song. It just feels right. And it's a guitar I really learned to play on and everything. And then I got a couple Les Pauls, and I love Gretsch. Got a couple, of course, the Gretsch you see in the Charlie Sheen video is Electromatic. Still got that. That's always tuned up for slide. And like this is a slide. This is a slide right here, resonator. And then there's got 12 string back here, Gretsch. And then this is my first really good acoustic was Gibson Hummingbird, but it's called a Hummingbird Pro because it's not really Hummingbird. I think it's a songwriter, and they took the graphics off, and because Guitar Center wanted a guitar under $2,000 that they could sell because everything was too high priced. Gotcha. So they stripped it down. It's a great guitar. You'll see a lot of them around still. And then the cream of the crop here is my SJ200 for acoustic wise. That was expensive. That one has been treated and dried out and aged, and it's everybody comes over. My buddies that all play, they'll try. I have a few. I don't have too many acoustics, so they'll go through. I have a Martin too, and once they pick that up, they're in love. That's like this thing is the king of the flat tops, and the bass is just boom on that thing, boom. It's really nice, sweet guitar. And then right now I'm using a Hallmark as the lead. You'll hear it on Still Smelling My Beard. It is the coolest tone. It's a surf guitar, really. They made them, the Maserati family of guitars. They make them around here, Bakersfield, I think. And it's got this cool ass twang to it, these funky pickups, and you can play surf on it, or like psychobilly surf, but it's great for a country lead too. So I've been leaning away from my telly and playing that on most of the lead. It's really cool tone. And then I use two Fender amps. I've got a solid state and a what is it called? A 57 reissue tube, which it's great sound. It's only like two knobs on it, but you can dial all sorts of tones, and it's really cool. Really great tone.
Yeah, see you got that new hat on, buddy.
Yeah, I've got these for sale on eBay if they're interested. I sold a few of those already.
Yeah. Now, was that one of your designs? I never did ask you that. Is that your design?
Yeah, somebody's asking about what the history is. My dad was a hog farmer, and we had a nice big farm up through the 80s, but then there was a 80s crash in farming. If you remember that, but a lot of small, it just wiped out a lot of family farms. And fortunately, that was one of them. And my parents split up, and I was out of town. So they had an auction, all the shit got sold. Everything kind of disappeared and ended up at my grandma's house, and there wasn't much left. And I went out there to see what there was, and it was just boxes of junk. And this hat was sitting out there. And I remember it was my dad's hat from the 80s. And this isn't quite the original. I still have the original. If you watch the video, I still wear the same hat. It's crusty as fuck and it's falling apart. But I found it in a pile of junk, and I dug it out, and I just thought it was cool. And I thought, I'm going to wear this in my video. And it's just kind of been it's a tradition. So I always think of my dad when I put it on. So
that's great.
Yeah. I'm getting that next week, man. I'm putting my order in. So I'm gonna get me a hat. I gotta have the hat.
Oh yeah, you got the other one too.
Yeah, you gotta have them like a pair, like boobs. You gotta have both.
Right.
You gotta have both. Yeah, because without nipples, man, boobs are pointless, right?
Right. Exactly.
So you said your next video is going to be the Hillbilly Joel. Is that going to be the next one?
It's probably gonna. I'm not sure. It might be the PBR video. I'm working on 3. It depends which one kind of hooks. Like the Just Smelling My Beard. that one just popped up, and I was like, oh, this is funny. And I had a tune in my head, and I thought, I know just how this is going to go. I want to do one of those like Americana, folksy, hipster videos where they're all walking with banjos and stuff, you know. So that background, just the barn background, I dropped down and we put a little dolly around it and got cool. My buddies in there to play. So so it just depends what kind of comes together. Like I started shooting the Billy Joel thing. I still got like, I was going to do this spoof of a stand-up comedian's got to defend himself because people are getting attacked, you know. So he's a ventriloquist, but the dummy has like a knife, and, you know. So I've got a dummy sitting around. I got props and beards and hair, and, you know, because I'll start something and not finish it and then come back to it. And so you never know what the next one is going to get completed. I've got some stuff in the can from like 4 years ago that I haven't finished yet, but yeah, probably Hillbilly Joe. What was the other? I had another sketch. Can't remember what it was, but the PBR one, and the Mean Drunk. That one's real close to getting laid down. The songs obviously take longer because I spent a long time mixing them, and because I do everything in a little tiny 6x6 studio and everything, and play each part. So I kind of got to have them in my head. It's nice when you have a band, you can hear everybody together and hear something. So when we rehearse, I'll get ideas for stuff too. But when you're by yourself, you just kind of go, oh shit, that would have been better there. I got to go back and re-record it, or, you know, or rewrite it. A lot of times the song rewrites itself when the bass part comes in, because then I like to put in a cool bass part, and that might change the whole song.
Right. Yeah, I know that we've talked before, like you said, and I ask you, hey, what's coming out next? And I know a lot of the times it's just, you'll be in the middle of something, but if something really good gets in your head, you'll stop and you'll put that aside. And then all of a sudden this new video come out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it works. And some of these songs I've written a while ago, some of them pop right up, and I play them, and I just don't. I think I'm going to record it, and then there's something just not there. And then a year later, you know, like, oh, that was what was wrong. Here's the bass part, or this lyric was wrong if I switch this around. That's usually how it goes.
So does the inspiration come from the lyrics or the words? Like you come up with an idea, right, with like a title or something, and then do you create the music and then try to put in a melody and the lyrics, or how do you do that? How do you write?
It happens several ways. That's one way. Like just the Tip was like, I got to do a song called Just the Tip. You know, then the lyrics came after, or I think of a funny chorus or funny title for a song, and then the next line that rhymes with it, and if it starts flowing, boom, oh, it's working now, we're rolling out. Sometimes I can roll right through them and just, oh, this is great, and keep writing it out. And other times when you have to force it, I just set off to the side and bring it back later. And sometimes it never works. Sometimes it's like, yeah, that wasn't good enough idea, I'm not going to record that.
So do you have like a list of titles of things that you want to get to and write a song about?
Yeah, I do. I do a board, like old writing. Well, from writing classes, in sitcoms, when they write a sitcom, they got a big cork board up there, and they got the scenes popped in, and mine are like that. Mine are sketches, sketch song, and then I'll have a list now. When I get it done, I yank it down and, put up another one, keep it. And then I'm like, because sometimes I'll forget. Oh yeah, forgot I was going to do that song. There it is,
Oh, that's great. I was wondering how that worked, how you worked with your video. So you're like, you have an image in your head when you're creating these.
Yeah.
You got what the video,
right. That's the thing about, I think, that makes mine different than your normal musician is, oh, here's a song, and then, okay, we'll hire some guy to do the video, and it's going to make you look cool, or it's going to make you look quirky, or, like Taylor Swift has a whole image she does when it's like, I'm like every girl, I'm quirky, and ooh, I dance funny. So they, they bring it up. to appeal to those girls that like that music. And I come through them. I start writing a song, and if I can picture the video, I'm gonna finish that song because they're gonna go hand in hand like this. That's why they're really little short films, most of them, and they tie together because they're meant to go together. It wasn't the video is not an afterthought. It's sometimes I'm writing that song thinking, okay, what's the visual on this? Well, that won't work, so I'll change the lyric. So they go hand in hand. Like the PBR video, that was like, this is going to be the introduction because nobody knew who the hell I was yet. I got to show the truck. I got to show the letters on the back, and I'm gonna be in a jockstrap, and I'm gonna just be this dome hillbilly that lives next door, and they're gonna be like, "What is this?" And then by the end, it's a party. By the end, you've won them over. That was kind of the concept, And by the end of the video, there, dancing around too. So, and the Charlie Sheen video was, I knew what that was going to be. Same thing, There's a guy sweating on this shitty porch and dreaming of what's it like. He keeps hearing about Charlie Sheen, man. What's it like to have hookers and blow and all this wild lifestyle, Tommy Lee kind of lifestyle, and he's fantasizing about it, but it's me at the same time. So the fantasy is the dollar bills and the girls in the bed, and of course the budget. Budget's always key too. I can't do this one's on a rooftop somewhere. Right. This is like, whose backyard can I shoot this in, or how much can I shoot? A lot of it shooting the living room, right here. Just pull out a backdrop and go to home.
Yeah,
nice.
You also you do a lot. You put a lot of time and effort into your props too, and different costumes in your videos.
Yeah. I got boxes and boxes of that shit now. Yeah, that's the fun part. That's part of the fun is the problem is too, because after COVID, a lot of these stores shut down, prop stores, and the hair and fake blood and all this stuff, goofy stuff that you need, rubber hammer, whatever. You can't get anymore. But there's Amazon, but they don't really carry the stuff like they did here, like the professional stuff. So it's been harder to get in there. Like the Halloween store used to be open 365 around here. Now it's like we're closed on Monday and Tuesday and open for 2 hours here. So it's harder to get the stuff now. And with CGI, there's less prop stores. Used to be prop rental houses all over the place. Now they just we'll put that in digitally. So it's the business has changed. I've been about 20 years out here, and it's amazing how fast it changes anymore.
Wow. Yeah, I never even thought about that aspect of it as well.
Yeah, the cameras alone, the technology has changed so much. From people were still shooting film when I moved out here, and now they're not doing that anymore. And then the DSLRs took over, and so nobody could make any money shooting anything because these kids were coming in. I'll do it for $50 a day, on this little snap camera, and you get this great image. So, and the way it is now, it's just it's a weird business, and now there's going to be a writer's strike, so a lot of people are out of work right now.
Wow.
So I'm glad I'm doing what I'm doing, which is I'm not tied to anything. I can do whatever I want pretty much, which is what I've been trying to struggle with to accomplish over all this time, and now it's finally happening. Really,
me and Phil, we hear that all the time. We have a lot of these other, like rock musicians, country musicians, whoever we talk to on these podcasts, and they say the same thing. A lot of them, they'll go independent and do their own records because for the simple fact that they're not tied to the industry. They're not tied to anybody. They don't have to answer to nobody.
I've never been tied to a company in the music industry, but I know it was horrible, obviously, for most people. But I guess it's nice that you can do it now because of YouTube and all that stuff, but it's a double-edged sword too, because you're not going to there's a lot more artists making a lot less money, but you can be independent. You just have to be different. You got to really stand out there, which is what I try to do. It's like,
and I think you've done a great job of doing that, separating yourself. You're really taking off. I noticed that your videos, some of them are up to 15 million views, and just it's incredible. Now you've been doing this for what, like 15, 18 years?
Yeah, I was pretty much started on YouTube from about the very beginning. I think they were only out like a year. I was actually on this other site called, I think it was Atom Films or Atomic Films or something. They were pre-YouTube, and it was people putting videos up, which was a new thing. So I was one of the first ones online really with videos. And then somebody told me about YouTube, and I got right on that. And my stuff's going viral, but we were doing sketches mostly. Actually, one of my number one videos still up there is called Hostel 3 Trailer. And back then you didn't have competition like now. Everybody would see it and they go viral. It was 1 million views in a couple of days. Boom. And it was getting more hits than the actual Hostel trailer. But it was a spoof.
That's great.
Do you remember Sanjaya on American Idol?
Oh, yeah.
With the hair. Well, I went down to Hollywood and they did me up a wig like that with a mohawk. I think I still got it in a closet somewhere. And instead of like cutting you up, they take you into this dungeon. There's all these horrible weapons, and Sanjaya comes out and sings while you're tied to a chair. And the guy's like, no, you know. So that one's still up there. It's got like 3.5, 4 million hits. Those are harder to do now, sketches. But I used to crank them out. I did some Britney Spears stuff when she was, hitting people with umbrellas and stuff. And that stuff would go nuts. I had millions of views going, but there was no money. It's like, here's 3 million views, Zippo,
wow.
Because it wasn't monetized. But so I just stuck with it, and you didn't make money on your years and years. And then they started monetizing it, and I was like, I started to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Then it was like, okay, I'm glad, because YouTube didn't make money either till they sold it and monetized it. Back then it was just build a huge website and then sell it for $1 billion just to some venture capitalist, and then and they can figure out how to monetize it. Because all that stuff was just put up your videos, which it's kind of sucks now because it's kind of corporatized, and they go through everything with a fine-tooth comb to make sure it doesn't offend anybody. And so you got to put so that's kind of bugs me too, because that affects my creativity. Is if something's too dirty, I can't. There's no point in me releasing it on video because nobody will see it. Because like profile picture I did where I'm yanking off on there most of the time. They didn't, they blocked that, so people have never seen that. So it doesn't get any hits because it doesn't come up in the,
really?
The
search,
whatever the lottery is. They come up randomly, kind of like what other logarithm is it? It just doesn't pop up. So I just gotta go, well, okay, it's out there. Still making music, or still making money on the download, music area instead of YouTube. But there's just some stuff they won't promote if it's too dirty. So that affects my writing too.
Yeah. Damn, because that does kind of put a kibosh on your creativity. You can't fully express yourself the way you want to in those things.
Yeah, where it would be where if I was doing it like the metal guys on the wall back there and disguising it as, they're talking about dicks and fucking and all that stuff.
Right.
But they don't, but the squares don't know that's what they're talking about. Mine, you know what I'm talking about. So
yeah.
I don't know what gave that away, man.
It's not real. I do some, but I do some clever, like just the tip. There's not a dirty word in the song, and still smelling my beard, not a dirty word, but you know what it's about. So I've kind of got to be sneakier about it and more subtle.
So where'd you come up with that outfit in that video, man? Just the tip. That was freaking great.
The pink sweater.
Yeah.
It was like, well, we shot I've got so many sketches we've shot that aren't out there either, that, just getting better at it and working at it. We did a celebrity boot camp speech camp. So it was when all these celebrities were getting in trouble for stuff. Which is nothing now. This was like 10, 15 years ago, but now you're in trouble for everything. So I had this sergeant helmet, and I got all these old props. I'm like, if I paint that pink, that looks like a peckerhead, and I'll get a pink turtleneck off Amazon, and so I went that way. And the funny thing was, maybe it was in my subconscious, I don't know, I was watching an episode of Seinfeld the other day, an early one, and it's him arguing with himself, and it's one's the brain. It's Tawny Kitaen's in it from the White Snake videos.
Okay, yeah.
And she plays this actress, but she's really dumb in the show, and he wants to screw her, so his dick's arguing with his brain because her brain's like, and they're playing chess, and his brain's like, I can't do this. You're too stupid, and his dick's like, yes, we can. And his dick looked just like me. It was the turtleneck. Yeah, a pink turtleneck and a helmet. And I was like, maybe that was stuck in my head, and that's where I got that. You never know.
That's great.
Great, man.
Or maybe it was just two minds thinking alike. Sometimes that happens too.
Woo, that's great. Hey, we wanted to do a segment with you today. I think I briefly talked to you about the top 5 comedians.
Yeah, did you mean like stand-ups or?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be stand-up.
Yeah,
I mean, whatever kind of comedian.
My number one above all others is George Carlin. He's the top of the heap for me. I've read all his books, and the amount of material he's able to put out was really impressive. Like 13, 14 hour-long shows. That's amazing. Because most stand-ups are lazy. And he was always working right. And that's what I do. When I'm done, I'm gonna have stacks and stacks of stuff that I've written. I love Bill Burr. It's one of my favorites out right now. Dave Chappelle, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Love him. Love Louis C.K. if he ever gets back from rubbing himself in front of people. he was doing really funny stuff. Brian Regan, I love. He's one of my favorites for sure. I can watch any of his stuff. Norm Macdonald was great.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Watching him.
That's a good list.
And from what I do, it doesn't really inspire as much from stand-ups. It's more sketch people. So I mean, that would be Carol Burnett, Mel Brooks, Benny Hill, and Jim Carrey and Eddie Murphy. I love. So those.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. What do you got, Phil? What's your top 5, buddy?
Monty Python.
Oh yeah, Monty Python. That's a good
one. I went with stand-up comedians, and my number 5 was George Carlin. Just phenomenal. I got to see him live back in early '90s, and
I saw him in Vegas one year.
Yeah,
2 years before he died.
He was he was just incredible. And one thing that really caught me was they had a heckler. He told a joke about kind of bashing the military, and some guy jumped up and said, "My grandpa died in World War II, you son of a bitch," and was giving him shit. And he just walks over and he calmly goes, "Sir, this is a comedy show, blah, blah, blah. I make fun of a lot of different things." And he is real nice and touching with him and got him settled down. This guy was really emotional about it. He got him settled down. He said, and then at the end there, he goes, "So are we good?" And the guy's like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Okay, so sit down and shut the fuck up." He goes back. That was great. I loved it.
Yeah.
My number 4, Bill Cosby. I grew up with Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
And I remember having the albums and listening to them. And, like Dave Chappelle says, you can rape, but he saves. He did a lot of good things for the Black community that got overshadowed by, this whole stir up with the raping and all that.
Yeah.
So, but, Chicken Heart that ate New York City, I remember listening to that when I was a kid, just loved that stuff. Number 3, Andrew Dice Clay.
He almost made the list back when he was in his prime. There's nobody better.
Yeah, and he had his stick. He had the poems. He would create those poems, and I just loved that. I thought that was a nice creative thing that he did there. I grew up with Cheech and Chong, so Cheech and Chong is my number 2. And there's nothing better than Cheech and Chong, and they do a visual as well. They did the movies and they had their they did a lot of like skits and stuff that they did visually when they did live performances as well. Really dug Cheech and Chong. Matter of fact, I was just listening to him a little bit earlier. And my number one, Dave Chappelle. I think, he's an incredible comedian, and he's kind of risen through the ranks through the years.
Yeah.
He wasn't on my radar, and the more I watch him, the more I'm like, wow, man, this guy's really got a great routine. He ties it into social events and really makes good statements, solid, logical statements. And he just doesn't stop. He doesn't make fun of just one group or anything like that. He just brings everything and says, and it's thought provoking, which I thought was really cool too.
Yeah, yes, that's the way I did when I saw him coming up, and I was like, "Who is this guy? He's hilarious every time I see him." And we actually met him on the street. And I was standing there waiting for a red carpet, and he walked up his Rodeo Drive, and he had on a sweatshirt and a hoodie and smoking a cigarette, of course, and just hung out. And I was like, "Hey, it's Dave Chappelle." I think his show was on then. I think he was pretty big. I don't know if it was when he quit or it was right around that time, but it was kind of surreal to see him stand there.
That's cool.
That show.
So that's my 5. Yeah. And I've got a lot of honorable mentions. I mean, there's so many great comedians out there. When you think about the Richard Pryors and the Sam Kinnisons, Eddie Murphys,
I was just watching a thing on Bill Hicks the other night, man. He was funny too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
all
right.
Well,
Bob, it's your turn.
Well, I mean, my list is full of a lot of the guys you named. This is really in no particular order, but I had the Dice Man, Andrew Dice Clay. I always loved that guy growing up. He's back out there. He's still doing his thing. I've never seen him live, had tickets to go.
Something happened. I haven't seen him live either.
Something happened, got canceled, but I'm hoping to maybe catch him eventually. I had Eddie Murphy on there, obviously.
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy, man, oh boy.
Did you see Dolomite?
What's that?
You seen Dolomite, the movie? He plays Dolomite. If you want to see it, it reminds me a lot of what I do. Obviously, it's different era and everything, different style, but it's very similar to how I started and stuff, and working on no budget and
okay.
kind of.
You said it's called Dolomite?
Yeah. Dolomite. I think that's the name of Dolomite. He plays Rudy Ray Moore in there, and how he got his start. And his whole act was kind of filthy kind of stuff. That was his deal. But just the way he tries to get everybody, tries to make goofy movies and stuff with no budget. It's really fun, and it's Eddie Murphy at like his best, doing it. Yeah,
nice. I have to check that out. Who else did I had? Richard Pryor on there. And I did have George Carlin. George Carlin, I think we all had George. I mean, how can you not have George Carlin when you talk about
people still quote him today.
Yeah. And then I think the last one I had was Sam Kinison.
Oh, yeah. I thought of him too.
But
that whole era in there was amazing. I almost said Dangerfield because he's a great stand-up. Plus, he introduced us to all these stand-ups on those HBO specials and stuff.
Yeah.
Dice Man came out of there. Seinfeld, Roseanne. There was a ton.
Yeah. And I had
Rodden Williams. Anyway. Yeah.
I had one honorable mention. I had to mention Don Rickles, man. I mean,
oh yeah.
Got to have Don Rickles in there.
He'd be in a lot of trouble today, I think.
Oh, fuck. No, I think a lot of them would. Fuck.
Yeah.
Hell, Eddie and Richard's early stuff, boy. Woo.
Oh yeah.
That'd tear you up, man.
Yeah, I remember my cousin had the shoe throwing mother's bit, and that, what was it? The one before Raw, Eddie Murphy.
Delirious.
Yeah, Delirious. Yeah.
Delirious was great. Big old. That's what you ought to get, Scuzz, a big old red leather suit for your next video.
Yeah, no shit. I remember seeing that. Me and my buddies in high school went to see Raw in concert in high school.
Oh,
man,
yeah.
we were like blown the fuck away.
Love that. Those two were very impressionable for us. I mean, growing up as kids in middle of Nebraska, and we were exposed to that. He was a big enough name that it penetrated into the Midwest or into Central America, and shit, man, it was like, oh damn, about time we got to see some cool shit.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm sick of this Lawrence Welk and hee haw shit,
Right, exactly.
I had to mention Benny Hill too, because it's funny how many people go, he's like the American Benny Hill. I'm like, that's the biggest compliment I could probably get, because that's like a perfect kind of show for me. Just goofy, sketches and sex and funny little shorts and stuff like that.
Well,
Go ahead. I have a question that I needed to ask, and I forgot to ask when we were talking earlier. I saw the picture of you on the 4-wheeler out in the desert.
Oh yeah.
Is that one of your favorite? I mean, do you go out and what's your pastimes look like? Do you go out on 4-wheeler?
That was I just had an opportunity for my birthday. Hadn't been on a 4-wheeler for years. And up in Pismo Beach, you can rent them out. We were actually supposed to get a dune buggy, but they ran out, so we got the 4-wheeler. And I grew up on a 3-wheeler. I had one. I think I was 10 years old. I had a Honda, and it was funny. I was actually, because I do a lot of camera work, I was working for Honda one time and talking to the guy, and he said that originally they went up there with a truckload of 3-wheelers on Pismo Beach. That's where they test them. They open the door and roll these things out, and everybody's like, what are these things, So I rode that all through. We had a farm and rode that around the farm and stuff, rode the shit out of it, and then they outlawed them at some point because everybody was, they were hard to steer. They're not hard to steer.
We used to ride them up and get them up on 2 wheels.
Oh yeah, I could ride it on 2 wheels all day. Around the house. Yeah, I had a blast. But if you didn't know what you're doing, or if you took it on the road, it could toss you pretty easy. So then, my grandpa had a 4-wheeler thing. I rode a little of that. I always liked the 3-wheelers better, but I hadn't been on one in, God, I don't know, got to have been 20 years or so. So rented one, and it was fun. But it came right back to me. It's like hopping on. I was like, man, I remember this. This is fun.
Fuck yeah!
But nice. I try to get out and we go to as many events and concerts as I can find. That's the experience. I think is an important thing right now.
Faster Pussycat concert.
What's that?
Faster Pussycat.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, that was a great story you told.
I told you that story.
Yeah, you did. That was great. The David Lee Roth concert, I think it was.
Yeah, David Lee Roth concert. I'm still, my hearing's for shit anymore. And I think half of it was that fucking David Lee Roth concert. It was the loudest fucking thing I ever heard. Oh my God. But you're a kid and you're like, duh, I'm going to stand here and listen to this blaring. You're killing me. That was Steve Vai on guitar that tour too.
Oh, nice. Shit. Nice.
That was amazing. Yeah, guy's fucking the shit. I've met that guy a couple times. Super nice dude too. And the reason my slide guitar is named Eugene after the Crossroads from seeing that scene when he battles the devil. That scene, Ry Cooder plays a slide in there. That's the reason I play slide to this day. Was that I was like, what is this sound? I got to do this. This is amazing.
Nice.
That's cool.
Well, so any big plans for the rest of the day? I know you said it's your birthday, man. So you gotta do something.
Just we're going out to, I'll tell you, last night we had a little party, but I can't party like Charlie Sheen anymore. Mostly I
$7 grand rock, man.
Ate a bunch of pizza, drank a few beers, and slowly passed down. But yeah, we're going out to dinner, and that's about it, really. I'll probably have some beer and just kind of take it easy.
Well,
it's awesome. A nice day out, maybe go for a walk or so. Cool. And of course, probably do some jamming and lay down some riffs. I got these we were talking about writing a song. It'll get in my head, and I wake up in the morning and the fucking things running in my head, and it will torture me until it's done. That's why I finish so many so fast, because I can't get out of my head. I'm like, okay, I get it. I'll finish it. Brain. The riff will just keep going over and over, and I just have to get it down. Like that's it. And then by the time I'm done, mixing it and cutting the video together, I probably heard it 10,000, 20,000 times. So it's drilled into your skull. So that's the other reason I don't like to tour so much. I don't like to go back and play old stuff. Like once it's done, it's done. I can't remember lyrics a lot of these songs because I've rewritten them so many times. I'm like, oh, that was the first version. So,
Yeah.
so I just like to, let it loose, set it out on the sea, and then go to the next one. It's like, so people are like, what's your favorite song? It's like the next song. I can't wait to get the next one out.
Nice.
So, hey, before we get off here, can you tell everybody where they can find you and where they can purchase your CDs and your hats and your shirts?
Yeah,
and all that stuff?
all my stuff is on. Actually, I got my CD right here. These are selling great. I got about half of them left. I did a run of about 500. Sold about half of them so far. We got the hats. I do it on eBay just because I can ship internationally that way. At least half my fans are overseas, which really surprises me. Like Finland, Germany, Australia, especially Canada, UK, and they wanted merchandise. So eBay started shipping over to them, so I can do it through there, and they take care of shipping. So I got the hat. I got the Scuzz Twittly hat that you're wearing. Can get signed koozies. I can sign these too. Pictures. I don't know what else I got on there. I think that's about it. But check it out on eBay. You can find it on there. And then all my music's all on Spotify or just about any download. I go through TuneCore, so they distribute it. It's been slow to get out there. It's taking like a week or two. Used to be boom. But iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, Rhapsody, you name it, all those. I don't really use a lot of streaming services, so I'm not real familiar with them. I still have CDs. If I can get a CD of it, I buy the CD.
Right. That's me. CD or vinyl, man.
Everybody thinks I'm nuts, but I got vinyl too. So
yeah,
that would be cool to do an album on vinyl at some point. But you got to invest a lot of money in. Like you got to do the more CDs you buy, the cheaper they are. So you buy a bunch of them, and that takes you a while to get the money back. So
yep.
Those are doing a lot better than I thought. Actually, it's about half gone. So those will probably sell out in the next year or so. And that'll be the end of that run because I'll have enough songs to have another CD by that time.
So how many CDs do you have out? Do you have all your CDs for sale? Do you have all your CDs for sale?
Just this is the only one.
Okay.
You used to be able to get Your Homo and Call Me Scuzz on Amazon. They would print the CD for you. It was nothing fancy. It was just like, here's a CD and a sleeve. But I think they stopped doing that altogether just because that's not. I think, though, I make a prediction. Vinyl came back. CDs will come back one day, and they'll be like, ooh, all the kids will be, look at these vintage CDs, because they still sound great, and they sound great. They don't wear out, really, unless you beat the shit out of them. So
they'll probably skip over the 8-track format.
Yes, I hope so. Yeah. Those were terrible. Here's the song. Okay, now you can hear the rest of the song in a minute or two when it comes.
Those fade into the middle of a song. I'm like, who wants to listen to music that way? That's stupid. Right. Who the fuck thought of this stupid shit?
Yeah, if it's Stairway to Heaven, it's going to be like on 3 different tracks.
Yeah, right. Rhyme to the Ancient Mariner in 13-minute song, and it's side 2 and side 3 of a freaking 8-track.
Right. I used to love that old click, that real loud click on those 8 tracks.
I think we're showing.
I don't miss the cassettes either, and why they always get tangled in there.
Oh yeah, and I became a master at getting those things when they get ate up, and you're like, oh damn it, this is my favorite cassette, and you take them apart,
right, and all the wrinkle and shit.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, it'll be fine, it'll be fine, and then I'll get to the part and kind of blur up the lyrics or whatever, but I'm like, oh yeah, I can get most of the cassette left.
Right,
right. Especially in the middle of Nebraska where it's hard to get that shit, You're like, I can't drive 100 miles to tomorrow to go pick up my favorite CD or cassette because I just ate it, the tape machine. Right. Another stupid invention, man. Fucking things that can be ate up like that.
Yeah.
Don't get me started.
I do miss going to the record store and stuff.
I do. I agree. Yeah. The hunt for the
45s. I'd go through the 45s and pull those out.
Yeah. That was a great. Yeah, that's a great thing that I think the younger generation is missing out on the opportunity, but they're so stuck on their phones and ordering it, and getting it at their door. I don't think they appreciate the hunt when you're out hunting.
That's the fun part, right? Yeah. Do they have it? I don't know if they're going to have it. Let's go and see.
Yeah.
All and that bookstores, CD stores, they're all gone.
Yeah, and you stumble across something else and get turned on to a whole nother band because you're like, oh shit, this looks kind of cool.
Right.
Wow. Yeah.
I bought what was the name of that album? Ram It Down, Judas Priest.
Yeah.
Just because the album cover. I'll never forget. I was in the store and it's the world, and this chrome hand is hitting. I'm like, I'm buying this. I don't know even what the hell these guys are. And I loved it. And that's how you got to. That's it. The problem is people don't get turned on to new music because if you listen to a channel, it just sends you the same shit over and over again and the same style. So I listen to everything.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. If you'll notice my songs are range from different styles because I'm listening to everything. I'm listening to 50s doo-wop, Beethoven, grunge, country, metal, you name it. I'm listening. And if you're on these services, I hear people and it's just the same kind of loop they're hearing all the time,
Yep. Yeah, I totally agree. Radio stations just play, especially the classic ones, just play the same tunes over and over.
Yeah, it's dust in the wind again.
So the next song's going to be a classical version, right? You're doing something classical with some Scuzz lyrics over it.
Yeah, well, that stuff.
You never know. Boom, boom, boom.
Right. And I'm
her vagina was huge.
Well, I'm like, there's all these good tunes out there that people don't know. They're classical songs that are in public domain. So you can just take the song, and turn it around. It's already written there.
Yeah.
Cover some Beethoven shit.
I'm sure if you do, it'll be great.
Yep.
Yeah, we always look forward to the new stuff, Scuzz, man. We really do. We appreciate you, man. We appreciate your time. And everybody can find you on Facebook. They can find all your stuff on Spotify and pick up gear on eBay. Just want to make sure I cover all this stuff. So.
Yeah, I think that's about it. You can go to my website, and if you want to email me or something, but I haven't updated it in about 5 years or so. Because those things have kind of gone the way of the past too. Like you don't look up some artist's website anymore. They're just they're on spot. They have their own pages on Spotify and all these different sites. So there's really not much point to me having one there and wasting time on updating it. Nobody goes to that thing.
Yeah,
anyway.
I think I got a page, but it's just more for reference. People can go there and see how to get a
presence there online.
Yeah,
and if I was sitting there putting links up to my videos, I'd be doing that shit forever. I'm already busy enough. With all the crap like Spotify had to wrestle with last summer because they had pulled on my music because it was in a comedy category. So they lumped it in with stand-up comedians and they didn't want to put that up anymore for some reason. So they pulled down all the stand-up comedians and me.
No.
And I was like, what the hell's going on? And I had to keep going back and forth. And I finally figured out that I had to go in and recategorize all the songs as country first. And then it was fun. Wow. Isn't that stupid?
That's just nuts.
But I waste so much time doing that shit or arguing with you two about, if it's censored or not, or getting ads on and stuff like that. And or somebody ripping off your video and putting it back up. And then I got to go through all those and request they take them down. And it's just a lot of waste.
You get a lot of that?
Not as much as I used to. I used to get all the time. Same one was the same guy. He just kept uploading. I'm like, how many strikes this guy got on his channel? Why don't you pull him down? It's pretty obvious.
Wow.
It's got to been like, it's got to be like 10, 12 videos he's done so far. And it's just direct ripoff. It used to be worse, but they keep a little better eye on that now because they got software that can recognize your video and the other song like instantly. There was a problem they were going through where somebody would just claim copyright on your song as soon as you posted it. Wow. And it wasn't there. And I go, this is a brand new song. What the fuck are you talking about? So you have to go through this rigmarole because companies were able to scam. And it was almost like, spam phone calls. If they do it enough times, a couple people won't pay attention and they'll be able to collect money on somebody else's original song. It's just total scam.
Wow, that's nuts, man.
But hopefully YouTube's keeping a better eye on that than that. I mean, there's always a hiccup here and there, and like somebody figures out some other way to screw up the system.
And they always do, don't they?
Yeah. I mean,
Dude, it's your birthday. It's your birthday, and we're keeping you. I really appreciate the time, man. I appreciate meeting you. This is the first time getting an interview. Yeah. And Bob and I were planning on singing happy birthday at the end of this, but we won't punish you with a happy birthday.
Okay.
So, all right, Bob.
Well, Scuzz, as always, man, it was a pleasure. I appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude, I love it. I appreciate having you. Every time I get the opportunity, it's a great time. It's a good conversation. And
we'll get Georgie on there next time.
We will. And that's what I told her. I said, if you can't get on, that's great. If you can, do it. I said, but we'll make it happen. I know she's been MIA, man, because I know I'd hit you up a couple times. Where's Georgia? I can't get a hold of her, but I see her traveling all over the world.
Yeah, I see these movies, where it's the hot girl and at the big parties. I'm like, that's Georgie's life right there. The life of a supermodel traveling all over.
All right.
Or I'll see an actor. I'm like, oh, she used to date that guy.
Yeah. Does she live there in California, or is she?
Yep. She lives in Hollywood. She's just a few miles from me.
Okay.
Wow.
Gotcha. Well, right on, man. Well, keep me
posted. She's here.
Yeah. Well, keep me posted, man, on the new stuff that's coming up. I know you usually do, and I appreciate that. So we'll get you back on again sometime in the near future, man. We'll just, do what we do, man.
And I wanted to mention too, I got 2 coming up that are going for 1 million. I'm a Man. It's almost there, and Karen's gonna ruin the barbecue. They should both hit 1 million, so that'll make about, I think, 15 over 1 million that I've got. So that'll be cool.
That's great.
Wow. Yeah. Good. You have 60 videos out or something like that?
Yeah.
Up around there?
Something like that. 60 or probably 70, 75 with all the sketches and everything.
Okay. Gotcha.
My goal is to get 100. I think about 35, 40 music videos right now. My goal is to get 100 out before I have to, I'm, close to retirement age. So I got a ways to go yet.
The way you're pumping them out, though, you're
I'm trying to crank them out as fast as I can.
You've been pretty busy lately. I noticed it, man. It's like, it seems like they're coming out quite often.
I get in those creative spurts, like spring does it to me. Sometimes you get in that dead zone and you don't, you get kind of down and you're not doing anything. And then all of a sudden it comes on like, a tidal wave.
Trucker Motherfucker comes out.
Hell yeah.
I love that song.
Great. All right, Scuzz. Well, man, you have a happy birthday, buddy. Enjoy your dinner.
Man.
Enjoy your dinner, man. Birthday. And, have a couple PBRs and take a load off, brother. You deserve it.
All right. Thank you.
All right, Appreciate buddy. You guys have a good one.
Guys.
Take care, fellas.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
My music's blasting out loud.